Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today is the 1st of July and I'm so excited because July is by far my favorite month of the year. It is the height of summer, which is my favorite season. It is my birthday month. It is all things good and sunshiny. My favorite flower tends to bloom in July, which is sunflowers. It's my favorite month. I'm so excited. And this video is, if you didn't see it in the caption, is my pickles and ketchup vlog for July. Ketchup and Pickles is a elementary school teaching tool where you have your ketchup column, which is all the activities and tasks you need to catch up on, and your pickles column, which is all the fun activities that you want to do. So I use it to kind of catch up on my bookish life and my real life, just things that maybe I didn't get to or didn't have time for in the previous month that I did want to get to and I don't want to have fall by the wayside. What that means for this week is that I have library books that I really wanted to read in June, but because it was clear shit, which is the point of is to read books you already have, a lot of my library books just didn't get picked up. And so this vlog is going to be a little bit on the shorter end. It's only going to be 4.5 days long because also Summerween starts on Friday. So I have about 4 days, maybe 4.5 if it bleeds over into Friday a little bit, that's okay. But I only have like 4.5 days to read some of my library books. So that's kind of what we're going to focus on. And the library books, it's funny. It's, usually I have like catch-up books, which books like that were either on my TBR or in some other ways like were priority. And then I have the pickles books, which are books that I really, really want to read just for fun. I mean, all of it's for fun, but you know what I mean. And usually I have two different piles, but all these library books are kind of counting as both ketchup and pickles books. So that's fine. It'll be a good time. It'll be a good time. So today's Monday, by the way. Today is going to be kind of a rot day. We had a really busy weekend with lots of socializing and lots of activities, and that was really fun. Because last week was our first like real week of summer because we were on vacation the week before. So we're kind of getting into like our summer groove. And by we, if you are new here, if this is your first video, hi, welcome. I have 3 kids. So my summer is a little bit chaotic compared to what my content is like the rest of the year. So we had a really busy weekend and we need a rot day. And really it's not really going to be a rot day. It's going to be kind of like a catch up on chores / rot day, which probably fails the rot part of that criteria, but we're going to stay home is basically what we're going to do. And I have Serial Killers checked out from the library on audio. This is nonfiction and it is about female serial killers. So I'm going to start this while I get started on some chores. There's some chores that I have really let fall by the wayside. Like as I like tried to manage the craziness of the end of the school year and then the kids being on summer break and then us immediately going on vacation and then coming home and having to immediately start juggling my working schedule with having the kids at home. There's just stuff that has not gotten done for a solid month and they need to get done. So I am definitely going to be sweeping and mopping the dining room and the kitchen. They get swept on a regular basis, but the mopping has not happened for a hot minute and it really needs to happen. I also need to add the most recent books that I've brought home into my TBR jar because I haven't added any books to my TBR jar for a few months and I know I have books that need to get put in there. And then of course I'm doing laundry because I'm always doing laundry. And then I think physically I'm going to start Out of Love by Hazel Hayes today when I'm not doing all the chores. I think this is I want to say it's a romance novel, but I don't know if there is an HEA at the end of this book. I think this might be a little bit like, what's the Christina Lauren book? Love in Other Words, is that what it's called? Where Like you're going back and forth in time. I think this kind of does that, where this starts at the end of their relationship and then you work backwards. Also a little bit like The Last 5 Years by Jason Robert Brown, which is one of my favorite musicals, so like I would not hate that. But I found out about this book from Jan's channel because she was raving about this author, and one of my kids' name is Hazel and their nickname is Hayes, and so I really loved that both those names are in this author's name. Anyways, so I think this will be my physical book because I don't know, if I don't read this now, I don't think I'll be able to fit it into the rest of the month because I have a big TBR planned for July. I should get a head start on something from my July TBR, but we can talk about that later. So for now, those are the plans. That's what I'm going to start with. I think we'll just take this one day at a time like we did last time instead of me trying to like plot out the whole week in the intro. So thanks for joining me and let's get some shit done. Okay, this isn't bad, but this table was clean like 10 minutes ago. Okay, it's been a productive day so far. I got 25% into Lady Killers. I really like it. Each chapter is a different female serial killer, and so I've read 3 of them, and it's really interesting. I kind of wish I had the physical book because I think there's illustrations or pictures or something like that, you know, some sort of visual component, but I don't, and that's okay. My library just doesn't have a physical copy of it, and that's okay. I'm really enjoying the audiobook. And then I started Out of Love, and I am also really liking this more than I thought I would. This book doesn't have chapters, it has sections, and I got 30 pages into this before I started to wonder when the chapter was going to end, which I feel like is a good sign. This is, oh no, what's her name? Do we not know what her name is? Oh my gosh, okay, wild. No, do we not know what her name is? Wild. That is wild. I also got 30 pages in before I realized we don't get the heroine's name. We don't, okay. So this is told in first person, past tense, and we have our unnamed main character who is having her ex is coming over to their apartment that they shared for the last time, like as the final nail in the coffin of their relationship. And then she's working backwards, obviously, into then what happened when they had dinner, when they officially ended their relationship, and her grieving process of the relationship being over and what it was like the night that he left, and just all the things that come in with a breakup. And she's also a writer and is writing about grief. And I really like the voice, the narrative voice. I really like the writing style. It's a little different, but I can't quite this early on pinpoint or really articulate what makes the writing feel unique, but I'm really enjoying it so far. And Obviously I picked it up because I thought I might like it, and you know, I was optimistic that I would like it, but I'm delighted by how much I am actually liking it. So I think this will probably be your last update for Monday, but I will talk to y'all tomorrow and we'll discuss the plans. I do have to go to work for like an hour and a half tomorrow for a staff meeting, but other than that, the day is kind of open. So the kids and I will also have to figure out like if we want to go and do anything, or if they want to have, they probably don't need 2 lazy days in a row. So yeah, I'll have to figure out what we're going to do tomorrow. But yeah, so far it's off to a great start. Hello friends, it's Wednesday. It's like 3 p.m. I meant to update you hours and hours and hours ago, but I think Wednesdays are our busy summer days. We had a very slow morning getting going. We went to an outdoor music concert that our city put on last night, and it was so much fun, but we were all moving so slow this morning, and it took us all a while to, just get on with the day. And then we met friends at the park, and then my middle kid has ballet this afternoon, so it's just, go. I do desperately owe you an update. I'm something percent of the way through Lady Killers. Look, it's so good. It's so fun. It's compulsively listenable. Compulsively listenable. Sure, I like it a lot. However, all the women are starting to run together a little bit. Also, I didn't realize how popular arsenic was for historic women murderers. I thought there'd be more variety, but no. Arsenic. Most of the time it's arsenic. So they're all starting to run together a little bit, which isn't the author's fault. I think the author has made it really interesting and engaging, and like I'm hooked. I am like finding chores to do so that I can keep listening. So it's great for my house, great for my entertainment value. They're just all starting to run together a little bit. So I do recommend it if you're looking for like a very specific niche nonfiction book. It's not a good time. It's an interesting time. And then Out of Love, that one I will go grab. I could not stop reading Out of Love yesterday. I am on page 248 this is a long book, 400 pages, not quite. Ooh, 406 pages. So I have about 150 pages to go. I love this so much. I don't know what else to tell you. I love it so much. I brought this with me to the concert yesterday, and my kids all had friends that were there, and so they were all off with their friends, like dancing to the music or playing tag, like around behind the audience, or just, whatever they do with their friends. So they were all off playing with their friends, basically for an hour and a half. And so I was by myself. And so I was reading. I like sitting in my little chair, reading my book, listening to, it was like a folk cover band. So they had like a couple songs that were original, but then they also had covers of like Backstreet Boys, Party in the USA, Shake It Off. Ooh, they did a folky cover of Want You Back by the Jackson 5. That was a good time. So I read off and on for like an hour and a half last night, and it was perfect. I had a perfect moment. Do you ever have those moments or clock those moments where it's just like, this moment that I'm in right now is a perfect moment? I had one of those last night because I was sitting in my little chair, reading my book. I bought my kids snow cones, but my youngest ended up not wanting theirs, so I ate it. And so I was just sitting in the chair, reading my little book, eating the snow cone with a spoon, listening to like really good music. It was like a perfect moment. I loved it so much. Almost as much as I'm loving this. Now I will say, I'm gonna go out on a limb that this is not a romance. I think this is a romantic book, but not a romance, because I don't think it's gonna have the HEA, which you need for it to be a romance novel. But I think this is love. And some of the things Hazel Hayes writes about falling in love or being in a relationship, she has this really lovely part where our main character, still nameless, is thinking about whether or not she wants to be a parent. And I thought that was really lovely and vulnerable and heartfelt. Like, FYI, there is a content warning. There is a miscarriage in this book. And I read that part last night, and I was kind of grateful that I was at the concert while I was reading it, because I wasn't fully immersed in the book. And I think if I had been fully immersed, that would have been really devastating for me to read. But because there were so many distractions going around, it kept me from being sucked in enough. So I was still really sad, but I wasn't as, I don't know, I wasn't as emotionally eviscerated as I would have been if I'd been in my house, like in peace and quiet, sucked into the book. But I absolutely love Hazel Hayes' writing, and I am going to go out on a limb and say that I think she is a severely underrated author, and that more people should pick this book up. And I'll have to read her second book now, because I am like, if she can land the plane. We'll see how this ends, because I do have, a bit to go. It's interesting though, it's like the farther away we get from the breakup, because we're going backwards in time, and even though we're like, I'm in the part of the relationship where things were kind of okay, but like the farther we get into their relationship, like the part where he is a better person, the more I'm like, I hate him. Why did you should have dumped him from day one. No way. No way. Just the more I find out about him, the more I'm like, I hate him. Good riddance. I'm glad we broke up. He's trash. You're amazing. You deserve better. I don't know if that was the author's intent, but I feel like I should be liking him more instead of liking him less, but I'm liking him less. I don't know. Maybe that was her intent. Who knows? Anyways, I love it. I'm having a grand old time. I had hoped that I would be able to read 3 books for you in this vlog. Right now it's looking like it might just be 2, unless I squeeze in Witch Hat Atelier, which I could do. That is possible. Tomorrow's also the 4th of July though, and we're going over to my parents' house, and my whole family will be there. And my ability to read around my sister is non-existent because she's my favorite person, and I can't read around her. She's my favorite person. She's totally distracting. So not a lot of reading's gonna happen tomorrow, I don't think. Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. Anyway, I'm loving both of my books is the TLDR of this update. And I'm going to go now so that I can continue reading and continue cleaning my house. Apparently that's what I'm doing this week. We just finished dinner. The kids are watching Dungeons and Dragons because of course they are. We had our first every plate meal tonight. Oh, my hair is wild. My sister and my sister-in-law both use it, and so I decided to try it because they had like, get your first box for ridiculously cheap kind of code. And yes, it was really good. The kids all tried something, which is great. I've been in a major recipe rut, partly because just cooking for 5 people gets exhausting when you do it every single day, and 2 of the kids are still kind of in like a picky eating phase, and it really sucks the fun out of picking recipes when 2 people probably won't eat very much of it, if any of it. I'm not looking for advice on dealing with the picky eaters. We got it. We're just we're riding it out, making the best of it. Yeah, everybody tried something. One of my picky kids loved the chicken sandwich. That is the best success I've ever had with breaded chicken. I feel like every time I try to make it, it just sticks to the pan and then comes away in clumps, or it just doesn't work out, and it looked perfect. Just absolutely perfect. So that alone makes me really excited to keep trying it. Sorry, this turned into, what is the food or cooking side of YouTube called? Does that have a cute name? You know how like we have BookTube, it's our cooking tube? That sounds wrong. Food tube? Oh, I don't like that either. Moving on. I also was able to finish Lady Killers while I was making dinner and then cleaning up from dinner. And I think I'm going to give it a 5. I was thinking today about whether I was going to give it a 4 or a 5. And then while I was listening, I was really struck today, especially by how good Tori Telfer is at painting the scene and describing what was going on and making this really vivid picture of what these women's lives were like and what lives for women were like in the various times. And in her afterward, she mentioned that she tried to only pick historical serial killers, like the most recent was in 1950. And she did that because she wanted it to be interesting and kind of not fun, but like, a little bit more lighthearted and less depressing. And then that we also don't really have serial killers in that way anymore. And then she did have a note about why there aren't very many serial women of color. She said finding information about them is really challenging. And so there were like 2 specifically that she really wanted to include, but she just couldn't get enough information. There's not enough archival information about them to paint a picture of what their life was like, and so that's why it's a pretty white book. So I appreciated that afterward, and I just think it was really interesting. And again, arsenic man, who knew? So yeah, that was fun, and I'm glad I finally got to listen to it, because did I mention this at the beginning of this video? I've had that checked out from the library on audiobook for like a solid week already, and I was really worried that I wasn't going to get to it, so I'm very glad that I did, and that this is my first book of July, and it's a 5-star. Like, nonfiction continues to just be the best this year. I love it. But now I'm really full, so I'm gonna lay down and digest. Actually, that's a lie. I'm gonna finish editing my June wrap-up so that I can get it uploaded to YouTube. But then I'm gonna lay down. Hello, friends. Happy Friday. I actually did it. I finished Out of Love by Hazel Hayes last night, right before I fell asleep. And I like this book so much. I am giving it 5 stars. I thought this book was so well done, so interestingly constructed. I found this really annoying and also really fascinating that our main character is never given a name. I have so many questions for Hazel Hayes, and like, I need to look and see if she's done interviews about like why she made that choice, because especially with all the themes and topics in here, I would definitely say check your content warnings. This does heal with heavier subject matter as you get into the book, but I found like the scenes where she talked about, sorry, I'm trying to get the glare out of my glasses, but I think it just is what it is. I found the scenes where she talked about motherhood and whether or not she wanted to be a parent or felt like she was fit to be a parent. I really loved the complicated relationship she has with her mom, and how because of external circumstances, like, their relationship isn't super healthy, but they both love each other so much. And it's a whole thing. It was just so good. It's interesting, like, even though this book is moving backwards, and so you start when they break up and it ends the night that they meet, but the farther we got into the book and the more we got into the beginning of the relationship, the sadder I got while reading it. Like, this book is heartbreaking in a lot of ways, and it's really lovely and it's funny, and it's got, I don't know, it's got a little bit of everything, and I just loved the writing so much. And it was one of those books where I was thinking about it when I wasn't reading it, and then when I was reading it, I was wishing I could read faster so I could find out what was going to happen. I just absolutely loved it, and I think if you like contemporary fiction, I wouldn't say, I don't think this is like women's fiction by any means. I definitely wouldn't call this a romance novel, but maybe like a romantic novel. It is also a little bit kind of a coming of age story, even though she's older, like, because of, not older, but like, you know, but she's still, like, because of the things that she's gone through in her life, she's still like learning who she is and how to take care of herself, even though you're watching it in reverse. I really think if you like The Last 5 Years, the musical, you would probably also really like this book, because I think it's doing similar things and has similar themes, though obviously, you know, different relationship, different characters, different circumstances. I wouldn't say it's like a copycat, but I think if you like one, there's a good chance you'll like the other. And I really liked it. I really want to read her new book that just came out, and I'm probably going to be thinking about this book for a bit. So, yay! So that's the end of the video of this Ketchup and Pickles vlog. I feel like I didn't read as many books as I had hoped to. There are only 2, but I mean, they're both 5 stars, so I'm not gonna complain. I feel like July is off to a really great start and is living up to the very high expectations that June set. And it's officially Summerween. Yay! So you can look out for that vlog coming in like a week, I guess, maybe, we'll see. And if you want to leave an emoji, just let me know you're here. Let's do it. No, I've done that before. What haven't I done? Let's do a tea emoji, because they drink a lot of tea in this book. And like if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!